You hear one thing in speeches, and then you see a campaign that has the worst kind of tactics, reminiscent of the same sort of Republican attacks on Democrats. Well, I am here to say that it is not only wrong, but it is undermining core democratic principles. Since when do Democrats attack one another on universal health care? Just because Senator Obama chose not to present a universal health care plan.
To borrow a phrase, let's get real. By falsely characterizing his plan as not universal, it is you, Mrs. Clinton, who is attacking Obama's plan. Everyone who wants health coverage under Obama's plan will get it. That is universal coverage in its most democratic sense. Why is your coercive plan, that forces people who do not want it to buy it, more universal?
Does not give him the right to attack me because I did. So let's have a real campaign. Enough with the speeches and the big rallies and then using tactics that are right out of Karl Rove's playbook. This is wrong.
Obama's error is how he framed the issue. He should have focused on liberty, not affordability. It is Mrs. Clinton who is Karl Marx. She is forcing people who do not want her insurance to buy it.
And every Democrat should be outraged, because this is the kind of attack that not only undermines core democratic values, but gives aid and comfort to the very special interests and their allies in the Republican Party who are against doing what we want to do for America. So shame on you, Barack Obama. It is time you ran a campaign consistent with your messages in public. That's what I expect from you. Meet me in Ohio. Let's have a debate about your tactics and your behavior in this campaign.
As opposed to Clinton tactics and behavior. What kind of people are the Clintons? Bob Herbert, The New York Times, January the 26th, 2008.
100 years later, the Negro still is not free. 100 years later, the life of the Negro is still sadly crippled by the manacles of segregation and the chains of discrimination.
My guess is that what they're going to do is they are going to play the race card, but they're going to do it in a very subtle way.
They say to themselves, okay, I have a choice between a truly inspirational speaker who has not done the kind of spade work
Give me a break. This whole thing is the biggest fairy tale I've ever seen.
Let's look at health care, another contrast between you and Senator Obama. He's been pressing that case this weekend. The key difference, as you point out, is you would require everyone to have health insurance. You believe that will get to universal coverage. He would not. Here's what Senator Obama said about that in the debate.
You can mandate it, but there's still going to be people who can't afford it. And if they cannot afford it, then the question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to fine them? Are you going to garnish their wages?
You didn't get the chance to answer that question in the debate. What is the answer to those two questions? Will you have fines for people who don't buy health care, don't go by the mandate? Will you garnish their wages?
George, let's put this in context, because this is a big difference between us. And I'm absolutely going to do everything I can to achieve that. You know, with respect to how do you get people to do it, I find this somewhat bewildering. You know, about 20% of the people who don't have health insurance in America today could well afford it, even at the cost that it is, which is exorbitant. So what we've got to do is have shared responsibility. Everybody has to pay something.
Let me interrupt you there, because the other night at the debate you said that you and Senator Edwards bit the bullet on this question of mandates. And Senator Edwards was quite clear in his plan. He said if people still didn't buy the insurance, their wages would be garnished. And I still haven't heard. If people can afford it and they don't buy the insurance, will their wages be garnished under your plan? Will they have to pay fines?
Well, I think you can automatically enroll people, and you will then say, you've got to be part of this. But if you don't start with universal health care, if you don't say everybody's going to be in the system, we'll never get there.
Hillary's plan will, excuse me, let me read this again, forces everyone to buy insurance even if you can't afford it. You pay a penalty if you don't. And I want to bear down on this question one more time, because they're claiming this issue of the penalty, and a lot of independent healthcare experts, many who worked with you in 1994, say that without these enforcement mechanisms, you simply can't get to universal coverage. You can't claim to have universal coverage, so there's no difference between your plan and Senator Obama's. And I mean, you talked about automatic enrollment. Will you garnish wages of people who don't comply, don't buy the insurance?
George, we will have an enforcement mechanism, whether it's that or it's some other mechanism through the tax system or automatic enrollments. But you're missing, I believe, the key point. If you don't do what I am saying we do, we will never even attempt to get to universal health care. And the reason why I think there are a number of mechanisms, you know, going after people's wages, automatic enrollment, when you are at the place of employment, you will be automatically enrolled. Whatever the mechanism is not as important as commitment to universal health care.